So light 'em up, 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 light 'em up, 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 light 'em up, up. I'm on fire.
Hey everybody, so episode 14 of Teen Wolf Season 3 aired tonight, and it was wild. Basically, the episode starts off where episode 13 ended, with Peter and Derek both being tortured by some people we don't really know anything about yet, but apparently they're looking for a she-wolf. I don't know if they're talking about Cora, because that's the only alive she-wolf that we know of on the show at the moment, since Erica got killed off and such, and Kali as well. I just want to add in a little tidbit about Peter getting his finger cut off for not being cooperative, because, I mean, it's just such a Peter move. Peter. Anywho, while all this is going on, they're just being tortured, and Scott and everybody else has no idea about it. Scott and Styles meet up back in the woods from splitting up and going there, trying to find out what's going on with Malia or whatever. And they've found Malia's den. Yeah. They meet up with Styles' dad again and tell him they think Malia started to transform in the car, which caused the car crash, just like the shock of it to everybody, and caused everyone to die. And apparently Malia has been stuck in a coyote form since then. And it's pretty interesting. It's really interesting, the whole coyote thing, and I'm going to be interested to see if she's going to be bad news or not, the actress playing her. Because coyotes are never good news. They're just not. They're not, nobody likes a coyote. I mean, I like the actress playing Malia, but we'll see. So Scott's father continues to be an asshole and threatens Styles' dad over and over, and just, trying to be a know-it-all. And when he sees the den or whatever for the coyote, which Styles' father now knows about it being Malia's, but everybody else still thinks Malia's dead. So Scott's father is convinced they will find a 9-year-old's body in the ground or whatever, somewhere in there, because of the coyote killing it, which they don't know the coyote is Malia. The next day at school, Scott, Styles, and Allison meet up to try and figure out how to track down Malia, because she's not going to go back to that den now, especially with the wolf scent, as coyotes and wolves don't mix. They don't like each other. One of my favorite scenes of the episode was when Kira, this happens in this right after they had met up in class, Scott, Styles, and Allison, that is. Kira walks up to Scott and tells him that she looked up the more information about Bardo, and lets it slip that she spent 2 hours looking it up. It's just a really sweet scene, and it's kind of this cute awkward moment between them, but I'm just really feeling their chemistry. Sorry, it's really cute. And her father embarrasses her yet again by coming up to her and being like, "You forgot all the information you looked up for the boy you like." And Scott's just standing there, and she's just standing there, and it's just so awkward. And oh man, I mean, those embarrassing moments with your parents and you just cringe. Well, I was cringing and cracking up laughing this whole scene. It was just too cute and hilarious. So after that, it kind of chills out a bit, and Styles is made to read in class, and oh goodness, I mean, he freaks out because he tries to read, and the letters start to drip off the page, and Scott kind of helps him out of the room, tells the teacher he's taking him to the nurse's office or whatever. But anyways, Scott helps Styles figure out that it's not a dream, because Styles thinks he's dreaming at this moment. He never knows when he's dreaming or not, which I can't even imagine being in a situation like that. Well, I've had dreams like that before. Every now and then, once in a blue moon, I've had them. I don't like them. They're very awful, and just no. I try not to remember any of those. But anyways, so how Scott convinces Styles that it's not a dream is by helping, they count his fingers, because apparently, I've never really known this about dreams, but like people have extra fingers in dreams. It's kind of how you know that it's a dream. I don't know. I've never paid attention to stuff like that in dreams. I guess maybe other people do. Dream experts, perhaps. But they figure that out, and then they have kind of heart to heart, and they're just kind of like saying, don't think they can help anybody, but Scott kind of helps Styles chill a bit, and they basically says they can try, they'll figure it out, or whatever. So after this scene, Kira sees that Scott and Styles left their bags, and goes to try and return them to them, and she's almost attacked by Malia because, it's just, well, I'll tell you in a bit, but Scott shows up in the nick of time and saves her. Well, I'll just tell you why, because most of y'all already know, but Styles kept the baby doll of Malia's, and it was in there, and yes, we'll touch on that. The next thing we see are Derek and Peter again, and Peter proceeds to just taunt and just their captors or whatever, asking to have his finger be put on ice or whatever. And oh man, Peter is about to get the crap beaten out of him again. You could see it. You could just see he's gonna get like electrocuted again, and Derek is just ticked off. Well, guess who saves them? It was a very welcome sight. Brayden. Y'all remember her. She saved Isaac in season 3A, and we thought she was dead. Apparently, Deucalion sent her to save Derek, and I just thought that was cool. I really wanted to see more of her character, and I'm so glad she's not dead. I don't know if they're going to be showing Miss Morel much this season, but they are showing this druid. I don't know. I still want more about the druids. I want to learn more about the druids on the show. So it should be interesting. I'm assuming she's a druid. I mean, I'm pretty sure they said she's a druid. Yeah. Yeah, she has some special abilities that we saw a bit of in episode 1 of 3A. When Styles' dad gets to the school, Styles just reminds him that it's a person there after, not just an animal. I mean, she's trapped in this animal form, and they don't want her to get killed or whatever for something out of her control. Malia's dad, Mr. Tate, shows up at the school and kind of freaks out when he sees that Styles has like her doll or whatever. And Mr. Tate's like made to leave because Sheriff Stilinski sees that he has a gun in a school. So, big no-no, Mr. Tate. You're kind of losing it just a bit. But they said this show is about losing your mind. They didn't say who's. Pretty much everybody, I'm sure. But, so after all this, Scott, Styles, and Isaac go meet up with Dr. Deaton because, as I said, that's just the plan. When you have nothing else, you don't know what you're dealing with, go to Dr. Deaton. He might know something about something. Dr. Deaton gets them some tranquilizer stuff, and they're going to have Allison shoot Malia, and hopefully they can try and figure out how to get her to turn human again. And Scott basically says if he can figure out how to control his alpha side, maybe he can do that alpha roar and make her return into her human form, because they're pretty much out of options at this point on how to get her to turn back. That's the only thing they can really think of at this point. So basically, Scott and Styles meet up with Lydia and then go meet up with the twins, formerly alphas themselves. And the twins proceed to beat up Scott and try to help him figure out how to control his alpha side. They pretty much tell him he needs to give in to the beast, but also learn how to control it. I mean, it's tough. It's kind of like a tough love. I mean, and they also refer to, Styles refers to in season 1, like throwing the balls at Scott and get him to control his anger, and just when he helped Scott learn how to originally control his werewolf side. So that was a really that was an intense scene, because they like beat the crap out of Scott. It was pretty sad, because Lydia like turned her head. She was like, oh man, it was very intense. After that, we see Allison getting a trank gun ready, and Isaac's there as well, because I don't know, because Isaac's just, I guess, going to be around Allison all the time now. I don't know. It was a cute scene, apart from the gore. I mean, come on. She's getting the trank ready, and she has one of those freaky moments where she sees her dead Aunt Kate, and it's like this crazy scene where Allison is getting dissected by her aunt, and her aunt is a werewolf in this scene. I don't know why it was like this. It was very interesting and very gory, because it like showed the organs, and it was just so, the way it was done was very creepy, because it was like Allison was like awake and looking at it, and she was like surrounded by werewolves all of a sudden, like the doctors or whatever were all werewolves, and they all just like go in at her and start like ripping out her organs and eating her organs, and it's just very gross. It's a good scene, but it's just gross. But when Allison like wakes up from this, returns from this little nightmare, she is pointing the trank gun at Isaac. At least I believe it was the trank gun she was pointing at Isaac, which isn't so bad, but still, it was intense. That's pretty much my word for this episode. I'm using it a lot because the episode was very intense. With the help of Lydia, Styles realizes that the doll wasn't Malia's, but her little sister's, and that she's bringing it back to the car wreck, just like how you bring flowers to a grave. Styles calls Scott and leaves him a message letting him know where she's headed, but Scott is already on her trail. Lydia then accidentally steps onto one of the traps as well, just like Isaac, but she doesn't remove her foot and it doesn't go off, and with the help of Styles, she gets free without injury. But it's one of those scenes with Styles and his reading problems, and she tells him to read the instructions on how to like disarm it, and he can't do that, but she like basically gives him a pep talk and says, you don't need instructions, you're too smart for them, and Styles figures out how to do that without the instructions. So after that, Scott makes it to the car wreck right before Malia and confronts her with his alpha roar, which then forces her into human form. And in human form, she is played by Shelley Hennig. Y'all might have seen her in The Secret Circle on the CW. Y'all might not have, but she's a really good actress. We see a sweet reunion at the end between father and daughter, but I don't think that is going to be the last we see of Malia. Styles' dad gets to keep his job after closing that cold case. The end was really good. We see Derek, Peter, and Brayden they attempt to open a box at first, Derek and Peter, but it's made from a rowan tree. And so Brayden has to open it, and then she also has to pull the item out because there's mountain ash all in it. So she pulls out some object with the symbol that is also tattooed on Derek's back, symbolizing Alpha, Beta, Omega. I'm really interested in what that is all about because I couldn't tell really what that was that they had gotten out there, what it's about. So that's going to be interesting. The end probably blew my mind the most. An unseen person pulls a weed from the nematon, and then fireflies swarm out of it through the cracks and then form these shadowy figures of people. I don't know. I think I don't know. I don't know what they are. I'm losing my mind. Thank you, Jeff Davis. Bravo. You win already. You're always winning in that aspect. This episode was really great. I think each episode is just going to get better and better. I'm really excited to see where all the different little relationships go. What is just going on with everybody. Who's going to die. I have to say, one of the most exciting moments of the episode for me was when it's just such a minor character, but I mean, I think right now she's minor, but it was just so cool to see that Brayden was alive, because last season I wanted to see more of her, so it was kind of like a prayer answered in that aspect. Do y'all have any more predictions on who is going to die this season? I would really like to know. And do you think that Scott, Stiles, and Allison are over what they've been going through, or if it's going to get worse? Because I just think it's going to get worse. Like, I think they're feeling a bit of a reprieve, but I think it's just the calm before the actual storm. You know what I mean? This episode and this season, just wow so far. I can't wait for more. I hope y'all enjoyed this recap and review. Continue to watch and subscribe, and if y'all like this video, please like it, and have a great night. Bye.